Your child has just come back from your co-parents. They're loose-limbed, slightly wired, and they say it before they've even taken their shoes off. Dad lets us watch one more episode after dinner.
If you're listening, something at home has shifted. Maybe recently, maybe a long time ago. Welcome, I'm Remy. This is CoParentSpace, the calm space for parents and children living between two homes. What you'll hear is grounded in attachment science and clinical research. It isn't therapy, and it isn't medical or legal advice. If you or your child are struggling, please talk to someone who can help in person. This is a quiet place to think. It doesn't take sides. Here's today's piece.
Sunday evening. Your child has just come back from your co-parents. They're loose-limbed, slightly wired, and they say it before they've even taken their shoes off. Dad lets us watch one more episode after dinner. Or Mom doesn't make us tidy up before bed. Or we had ice cream for breakfast. You smile, you say something, you take the bag, and underneath, something tightens. Not because of the episode, or the tidy up, or the ice cream, because of what it might mean. That the way you're doing this isn't being held in both homes. That you're being undermined. That you're the strict one. That the patterns you've worked hard to build at your house are being washed away every other week. Today's episode is about that tightening. It's the most asked question in real co-parenting, and the one most parenting books skip over. What do we do when the rules at the other home are different from the rules at ours? The short answer is the title of this episode. Different rules are fine. Different values are not. The longer answer is what the rest of this piece does. The reaction is real.
Different rules are fine. There are a small number of things that aren't rules in the everyday sense. They're closer to floors. Both homes hold them, or one home gets undermined by the other. This list is short. The school night fundamentals. Roughly, sleep happens, homework gets done. The child arrives at school fed, dressed, with what they need for the day. Both homes hold this floor, in their own way. The details, what time bedtime is, what counts as breakfast, how homework supervision works, belong to each home. The floor itself belongs to both. Safety. Seat belts, bike helmets when the rules say so, supervision at age-appropriate levels, pool and water safety, medication doses, allergies, the non-negotiables that protect a body. This isn't a values question, it's a structural floor. Major decisions, schools, surgeries, religious milestones, contact with extended family at scale. These need both parents in the conversation. They live in the co-parenting agreement. They are not day-to-day rules. Emotional safety. Neither home runs the other one down. Neither home recruits the child as a confidant about the other parent. Neither home creates the loyalty conflict the previous section described. This is the value that holds both homes together as a single emotional system for the child. That's roughly the whole list of what needs alignment. Everything else, including most of the things parents fight about, doesn't. The bedtime can be different. The food can be different. The screen rules can be different. The chores can be different. The manners details can be different. None of those, by themselves, harm a child whose homes are emotionally safe and whose parents don't undermine each other. This is liberating when it lands. It means you don't have to win the argument about the second home screen time policy. You don't have to align on the food rules. You don't have to get your co-parent to enforce your bedtime. The energy that goes into those negotiations is energy that almost never produces a result. The energy you save by letting them go can be redirected into the things that actually matter. The floors above, the child's emotional life, the parts of your own life that haven't been getting attention. When the issue isn't really the rules. A small but important note. Sometimes a parent reading this episode is going to push back internally because the situation at the other home really isn't just different rules. The other parent is letting an 8-year-old watch material that's not appropriate for an 8-year-old. The other parent is leaving a 5-year-old alone in the house. The other parent's home has someone in it who shouldn't be around the children. The other parent is using substances around the child. The other parent is regularly missing core safety floors. If you're reading this section and recognizing your situation, the framing of this episode doesn't apply to you, or not yet. You're not in a different rules conversation. You're closer to a safety floor conversation, which is structurally different. The app piece for that is in Module 17. The thinking is different. The moves are different. The thresholds for involving someone outside the two of you are different. It's worth doing the honest check. Are you reacting to a genuine safety floor breach or to a different rule that's pressing on something in you? Both are valid reactions. They lead to different actions. The first goes to Module 17 and possibly outside professional support. The second stays in this module. For most parents reading this, most of the time, the issue is the second one. The difference is bothering you, and the bothering is real. But the underlying situation is two parents running two different households, each within the safety floors. The app piece is for those situations. Closing. Your child doesn't actually remember most of the rules. They don't remember what time bedtime was. They don't remember whether the screens were off at 6 or 7. They don't remember what was for breakfast on a Tuesday morning when they were 9. What they remember is how the homes felt. The face at the door, the voice on the phone, the atmosphere at handover. Whether the two adults in their life seemed to think the other one was a real and reasonable parent. Whether they were allowed to love both homes without managing a single eye roll. Two homes don't have to feel the same. They have to feel safe. The rest is detail. Before any of the clinical reasoning, the feeling deserves to be named. When you hear, "Dad lets us," you're not being petty. You're not being controlling. You're a parent whose nervous system is set up to track your child's environment. Your brain registers difference as risk, especially difference you didn't choose, in a home you can't see into, around a person you used to be partnered with and now aren't. Your child is much better at code switching across environments than adult logic suggests they should be. From very early on, children operate inside different rule sets at different places. The rules at school are different from the rules at home. The rules at grandma's are different from the rules at home. The rules at the friend's birthday party are different from the rules anywhere else. Children adapt, often without anyone teaching them. By age 4, a child can know that you eat dinner at the table at home, on the floor at auntie's, and at the kitchen island at grandma's, and not be confused by any of it. Two homes is the same skill, slightly extended. Your child develops a context map. At mom's, the routine is X. At dad's, the routine is Y. They run different patterns in different places. This is not the source of confusion or harm that it sounds like it should be. The clinical literature on attachment is consistent on this. Children with different routines across two homes are not the children with the developmental problems. The children with the developmental problems are the ones whose homes feel emotionally unsafe, or whose parents make each home unsafe by criticizing the other one. What children need across two homes is not the same routine. It's the same emotional weather. The feeling of safety. The feeling that the adult in the room is steady and present. The feeling that they don't have to manage the adults. Those feelings can be produced by very different routines, very different schedules, very different sets of household expectations.
So, a different bedtime at the second home, by itself, doesn't harm your child. A different food rule doesn't harm your child. A different screen time policy doesn't harm your child. What harms your child is something else, and it's the next section, the thing that actually matters. There's a line that runs underneath this whole question, and the episode is built around it. The line is between a different rule and a contradictory value. A different rule is a household setting. Bedtime is 8 at one home and 9 at the other. Screens are off after dinner at one home and allowed for an hour at the other. Shoes off at the door at one home and on inside at the other. Sweets after meals at one home and only on weekends at the other. These are rules. They differ. They can differ for years, and your child will be fine. A contradictory value is a message. The rules at the other home are wrong. That parent doesn't know what they're doing. That household is a mess. That isn't a real home. We do things properly here. These are values being communicated, often without anyone saying them out loud, and they are corrosive in a way that different bedtimes never are. The clinical signal is consistent. Children who hold 2 different routines across 2 homes do well. Children who hold 2 routines, plus a steady message that one of them is wrong, develop something specific. Loyalty conflict, a divided sense of where they belong, an internal pressure to take sides, a quiet shame about whichever home they're not in at the moment. These are the patterns that show up in therapy 10 years later. The bedtime that was an hour later doesn't show up. The mother who rolled her eyes every Sunday at handover does. So the question to hold isn't, are the rules the same? The question to hold is, am I in any way communicating to my child that the other home is wrong or lesser? That's the part you can control. That's the part that matters.
This includes things that aren't words. The face you make when your child reports what happens at the second home. The tone in your voice when you ask how the weekend was. The body language at the door. The pause before you respond. Children read all of it. They don't need to hear the value out loud. They sense it. The reframe. The job is not to align the rules. The job is to hold the value that the other home is a safe and real place for your child to be, even when, privately, you wish their routines were different, even when, privately, you don't agree with some of the choices. The privacy is the work. But mom lets us. The single most common version of this question is the "but mom lets us" moment, or "but dad lets us." The child is at your house, you are enforcing a rule. They invoke the second home as a counter-argument. There are 3 wrong responses to this, and 1 right one.
The first wrong response is to undermine the other home. Well, at mom's house, they don't care about teeth, but at our house, we look after them. This puts the child in the middle. It also lands as the contradictory value the previous section warned about. The phrasing might feel mild to you. It doesn't feel mild to your child. The second wrong response is to pretend you agree, to keep the peace. Oh, okay, just this once, since mom lets you. This collapses your authority in your own home and also signals to your child that the rules are negotiable on the basis of who else does what. The friction next time will be worse. The third wrong response is to interrogate. Wait, mom lets you do that? Every night? Until what time? Now you're using your child as a source of information about your co-parent's home. Children should never be that source. The information you get this way is unreliable anyway. Children read parents extremely well. They will report what they think you want to hear. The right response is simpler than any of the 3. At this house, we do it this way. Not as a power move, just as a statement of fact. Different homes work differently. This one works like this, the other one works like that. Both are fine. Neither needs to be discussed. If you want a slightly longer version, different houses have different rhythms. That's how it works. Tonight at our us, bedtime is at 8th. You're not denying the difference. You're not engaging with it. You're naming it as ordinary and moving on. Children can absolutely hold this. The first few times you say it, they may push. By the 10th time, the "but mom lets us" line stops appearing. It only worked when it produced friction. When it stops producing friction, they stop using it. This phrase is one of the most useful tools in two-home parenting, worth practicing out loud so it comes out evenly. The minimum that does need to align.
That's today's piece. If it helped, the full written version, and more like it, are at CoParentSpace.com. Be gentle with yourself. I'll be here next time.